Okay, welcome. This is an overview of the Fire Sword project, and we're just going to start by looking at it here. So, this project was done between myself, uh, Brayden, and Timothy. I initially came up with the idea and then kind of got them to help with it. Um, you can think of it as achieving something similar to this if you've ever seen How to Train Your Dragon. This wasn't necessarily the inspiration for it, but it does very much look like this, just minus the retraction and kind of gas that comes out the other end. Um, but this is the fire sword that we came up with. So this is kind of a dowel rod, just with wool rope looped around it, and there's two fasteners at either end to keep the rope from falling off, and also to make it easily replaceable. The reason I don't just tie knots is because the rope does burn up, so it needs something to like physically hold it. The knots were coming undone. And then, we just have these adapters for copper pipe or copper conduit, just for looks. Um, I would not recommend duct taping this because it does heat up the copper and kind of melts the duct tape, which I found out later. So yeah, so this is a fire sword. If we come here, we can see some videos. Um, you can see here that there's a couple of videos with green fire swords. There's one where we have this bright mix of orange and blue. That's isopropyl alcohol. The green fire swords are a solution of methanol and oroboric acid, which makes like methyl borate, which burns green. Um, this can you can achieve probably most colors just with basic pyrotechnic solutions. I mean, put any kind of salt. I mean, in like chemistry classes, it's a pretty common experiment to make colored flames. So we could look up like colored flames, and it's done with different types of chemicals. Like blue is copper chloride, violet potassium sulfate. You can get whatever color you want, really. So I just happen to only do normal flame and green because that's all I had. And then you'll notice also some of these have sparks. So let's go ahead and watch this first video here.
Oh, sure. You should have recorded how I almost killed myself.
You'll notice when he's swinging this, some sparks are coming off.
Wait till you try hitting something. Try tapping the fence. Try tapping the fence.
That was a good idea. Oh.
You can see how bright that is. That's because this is titanium powder, which is kind of known for burning like that. It burns very quickly, very brightly. Um, I like this effect. There's also one with iron filings. Oops, we can see that here.
Yeah, wait until you hit it though.
You can see this is more of a slow, warm colored burn. Um, it kind of drifts down. Personally, this is my favorite.
It's cool, right?
And the reason this happens, you can put probably any metal powder you want for the sparks. I mean, there's all kinds of pyrotechnic compositions out there that people know about and that have been documented. This is something with just normal, like, I don't remember what it was. It was like some kind of salt that he had, and it burned very orange. So that was cool. We tried mixing them at one point. Pretty nice. Um, anyway, the reason this is happening, if we come here, you can see my old outline, is because let's imagine this is the wick on the sword. So this has got like the rope wrapped around it, and it's doused in some type of flammable solution, whether it be methanol, isopropyl alcohol, some other fuel, and that fuel is giving off a lot of vapor, and the vapor kind of forms like an aura around the blade, right? Where it's just like this is where it's kind of thickly coming off of the liquid. Around this area, it's so thick that there's no oxygen. And up here, it starts to intersperse with the oxygen some and becomes flammable. So this is kind of where, if you apply heat, this is where the flame would start. I know I'm an artist. Thank you. When you douse the wicking with some liquid, you can sprinkle on the metal shavings of your choice, and they will stick. Um, the titanium stick stuck much better than the iron filings, but they'll stick. And they only come off when they're agitated in some way, whether it be from hitting the fence, hitting another sword, or just being shaken or swung very quickly. Um, and you'll notice the sparks are not burning on the blade until they get knocked off. So when he's holding this still,
Oh, it hurts.
it's not really,
Should've
it's just
recorded
burning
how I
the
almost
flame.
killed
There's only sparks when he swings it. And this is because of the fire triangle. You know, to burn anything, you need fuel, heat, and oxygen. When the metal shavings are on the wicking, they're kind of deprived of oxygen. They probably have enough heat, I don't know. But when they get knocked off, they fall through the flame here at around this point, and they suddenly have plenty of heat and plenty of oxygen, and they're the fuel, so they just start erupting into flames. I think it's a beautiful effect.
Wait till you try hitting.
I really love it. I like that it's so versatile and customizable with any kind of solution and metal mixture. Some of the shots here were quite good. If we come back to this, you see him testing it against a board. This is kind of what it looked like applying the solution. So yeah, this is the fire sword. I will say that the wool rope burned up quite quickly, quite easily, and we made later like iterations of the fire sword, which I don't really have pictures of, where we kind of fixed some of these problems. So we didn't use like duct tape here, for example. Instead of using this wool, we used fiberglass gasketing, which we just found at Ace Hardware. And this stuff is really nice because it wicks up the methanol very well, and it doesn't burn up. So it became much more reusable without having to replace or worry about having these metal fasteners. We didn't have to replace the wick. It would just burn up the solution, and then when it runs out, it runs out. So this is really nice. You can get on McMaster-Carr. It's a great place. Yeah, I'm sure there's all kinds of improvements. If you're a person who's followed the channel to any degree of regularity, you'll have noticed there was this project. This was the arc lighter circuit, and this is actually meant for something else, like a wizard staff I'm working on, but it can be applied to the fire sword quite easily, and I could imagine it being kind of attached on right around this point here. Something like this. Just kind of mounted on, and having the two leads up next to the wicking. So then when you press a button, the arc lighter activates, and it's kind of like a lightsaber, you know, like you don't have to light it with a hand torch like we were doing, or a lighter. So I think that would be an amazing addition. If we're keeping with the theme, especially if we're keeping with the theme of something like the How to Train Your Dragon sword that Hiccup and them made. I haven't figured out the gas erupting from the bottom that's flammable. That's probably a little too dangerous for my tastes, but automatic ignition would be very nice. So yeah, that's the fire sword project. Go through a couple more pictures here. Looks really nice, especially with someone who knows actual sword technique. Show a couple videos. Oh, that's not even a fire sword video. Oh, that was.
Oh, dude, that is the picture. Did you see that?
It looked very nice.
Tap the fence again so it like gets agitated and then you swing. Well, we already did. Use the board. Use the test board.
So bright.
And then it gets like agitated.
Yeah, so that's the project. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please make fire swords of your own. They're very cool. Very nice.